Hello again. Let's move on solving quiz questions of functions. We finished question number 5 and now number 6. Define a function which takes two integer parameters. The function will return the sum of these parameters. Okay. The function name is going to be add, and it will take two parameters, n1 and n2, let's say. Okay, and I will write a docstring here, 3 double quotes and docstring. It adds two numbers, parameters, integer n1 and n2, and it returns sum of these numbers, Okay, now let's start. We will add these two and assign this to any variable, and I will call this variable as addition. Addition is n1 plus n2. That's all, and I will return addition. First, I got two parameters, then I add them up and I return the addition. As you see, that's easy. n1 is 45. n2 is 20. If I call the function with these two, it will get 65 and print on the screen. Okay, that was question number 6. Now question 7. Define a function taking three numeric parameters. Function will calculate difference between each pairs and return the minimum of these pairs. Hence, use absolute value for the difference and use min function. These were our hints. So now I will take three parameters and I will define my function as this. It takes three parameters. First thing, the docstring first, and it calculates the differences of pairs, of each pair, let's say, of each pair, and its parameters are integer a, it can be float also, a, b, c, and returns minimum of pair differences. Yeah, that's it. Now let's calculate pair differences. And for the first pair, I will call it as diff1. Diff1 is absolute value. This is Python built-in function. Absolute value of a minus b. Whatever the difference, if it's negative, again, it will convert it to positive. So I will get a positive difference here. Diff2 is the absolute value of, now I got another pair, a and c. This is difference between a and c. And another difference is absolute value of, now we got only b and c. So three pairs, three differences. Now I will return the minimum of these differences. Minimum difference, which is inside the return. After the return keyword, as you see, I will put the min function and I will give three variables, diff1, diff2, diff3. As you see, this is more functional approach than instead of, I could take this and assign it to a temporary variable, but I don't need this, and it's not a good approach, by the way. This is better. I write return, then whatever these min functions give me, it will be returned from the function. This is much more functional approach. I will tell you a little bit more about functional programming in other videos. Okay. Now I have three numbers, 8, 5, and 10. Now I will call my function with these three parameters, three arguments, by the way. The arguments are the one that you pass to parameter as parameter to function. We call them arguments. Here, this one is argument. Inside the function, we call them parameters. So that's the minor difference between each argument and parameter, but it's not not so important. So A is, these are the numbers, and if you call them, it will give me it will first calculate the pair differences and return the minimum one, which is 2, as you see here, because the difference between this and this is smallest. Okay, that was question number 7. Now 8. Define a function taking an integer parameter. Function will return the square root of this parameter. Hint, use math.squareroot sqrt function. So the function name is going to be square root, and it will take a parameter as num. Let me copy this. Now let me define it. Square root, it will take, let's say, n here. It doesn't have to be the same name, by the way. The argument name doesn't have to be the same with parameter name. So I changed it intentionally. Okay, this computes docstring first. This computes the square root. Square root parameters, only one parameters, but actually int n, and it returns square root. Square root. That's all. Now let's first compute the square root. Compute square root, and I will call it as sqr. And since I will use math module, I have to import it. Import math, and now it's math.sqrt, and I will give n as a parameter to function. It will return me the square root, and I will assign to my variable as sqr. Now I will return square root, which is my sqr function. As you see, this is function definition, and I will call it with 81. The function will return the square root of 81 as sqr. We will name it here, and then we will print as 9, as you see. One thing you should keep in mind is I could also rename this as sqrt, but I intentionally avoided that because it's also a name of a function. So please keep in mind that to avoid name clashes, be aware your names and the function names you use or attribute names you use from standard libraries or other libraries. So question number 10, define a function taking a numeric parameter. Function will return the logarithm of this function, of this number. It should be number. Okay, it will return the logarithm. Okay, now the function name is getLogarithm def. By the way, we are not trying to do math here. It's just an area to use functions. That's all. You don't have to know. You are not expected to know logarithm. I even myself don't remember how to calculate logarithms. Okay, get logarithm function. It will compute the logarithm, and I will not write the docstring. You can write if you want. The only thing I will do, it will return. Again, I will use math module, by the way. Let me import it. Import math. It was already imported here, but I did it just to show. Import math dot. Now I will use log, and I will give my n, which is here, not 12. My parameter is n. Okay, if I give this n to math log function, it will return me the logarithm, and I will return it to the caller who calls this function. That's all, one line of code. Now let's see. Let's call this function with this. N is equal to 2. Log is get logarithm of n is equal to 12. Log is get logarithm of 12. And if I print this, it's that. Also, I can print one line. Inside the print, I could give it like this also. I could directly call get logarithm inside print, and whenever it returns whatever value it returns, it will be printed, and you will see exactly the same result. Okay, I hope you got a good understanding of functions, using functions, calling functions. And now the last question, we will finish with this one. Define a function taking two numeric parameters. Let's assume these numbers are two sides of a right triangle. The function will return the hypotenuse of this triangle. This is the hypotenuse function, by the way. You don't need to memorize or know it. It's just a function. It's just a calculation. So again, I will import math for square root, by the way. Import math. Now def, my function name, it will take two variables, two sides of a triangle A and B. Now what it will do is it will return, again, one line of code. It will return math dot square root of a square, this one, a square is this, and b square. Sorry, that should be plus here. Okay, this is a square plus b square, which is here. If you take this and if you take the square root of this, you will get hypotenuse. If you return this, the caller will get the hypotenuse of this triangle. Okay, now in math, in geometry, we have 3, 4, 5 triangle. The hypotenuse should be 5. 7, 24, 25, this is hypotenuse. 8, 15, 17, also this hypotenuse. Let's see if our function gives them right. As you see, all 3 are right. One line of code, functional approach. This is no intermediate variables, just return what you got from this. Okay, that's all about functions. I think it's enough and we learned a lot. In the next section, we will have a project. It's based on Python's built-in turtle module. We will use this turtle module to draw shapes on the screen. It's a funny and exciting project, easy, but we will try to use functions more efficiently on a real-world case. See you in the project.